This video is for Chapter 2, and it's going to teach you how to do a multi-step conversion. If you still don't feel comfortable with one-step conversions, rewatch the one-step video or come into your teacher and get extra help. But if you're ready to do conversions that involve more than one conversion factor, then I think you're ready to do the video. So the best way to teach you how to do this is by doing an example. So we're going to try to convert the following problem, centimeters to yards, by using the factor label method, and we're going to report our answer to the correct number of sig digs. Now, when we look at this problem, the reason I would say that this is a multi-step is because if you look at the label that you're starting with, centimeters, and you look at the label that you're trying to turn it into, yards, if you look at that sheet of conversions that we gave you, there isn't one that involves centimeters and yards directly. What you could do as a path would be centimeters to, and if you look on that, it's to feet. There's one that involves centimeters to feet, and there's another one that involves feet to yards. So if you can tell, we're going to have to do one conversion from centimeters to feet and a second conversion from feet to yards. Now you're going to still start it the same way you did the previous problem. Start by writing down the given, 0.025 centimeters. And it always helps to put that number over 1 so that you can clearly see the top of the fraction and the bottom of the fraction. Now the next thing you're going to do is multiply by a conversion factor. And in this conversion factor, what we're focused on is changing centimeters to feet. To get rid of centimeters that are in the top of the fraction, the numerator, we're going to write them down here in the denominator. To get it to turn into feet, we're going to put that up at the top. Now we're going to use our conversion list and look at it, and it says that 1 foot is 30.48 centimeters. But we're not done. We're not to what we want it to be at yet. Centimeters have canceled, but if I were to stop this right now, I'd only be at feet. I need now to go from feet to yards. So I'm going to multiply by yet another conversion factor, and you notice I can keep going. I could have 10 steps if I needed to, but in this problem, I'm only going to need this one more. Now, feet is the label that we have up at the top. I want to get rid of it by putting it down here in the bottom. And the label I want to turn it into is a yard. Now, we know that 1 yard is longer than a foot, and hopefully you know 1 yard is 3 feet. If you didn't know that, that's actually on your conversion sheet as well. And now you'll notice that feet are canceled out. So you're going to do the math of this problem, and you want to be careful with how you put this in your calculator. You want to multiply the things that are on the top. So you're going to take 0.025 multiplied by 1 and by 1 again, which is just 0.025. Everything that you see on the bottom is a divided by. You are going to get a fairly large fraction. Well, not a fraction, excuse me, a longer decimal. And the decimal that I'm getting when I do my math is 0.0002734, and then I have a couple more digits, 33. The trick will be to figure out how many significant digits I can actually keep in my final answer. And you have to decide that by going back to your original given problem. This problem right here, this number, 0.0025, ask yourself how many significant digits you see. You should come up with only 2. That means my answer can only be reported to 2 significant digits. These zeros after the decimal are only placeholders, so none of those count. And I could write that as 0.00027 with 2 sig digs. And the label would be yards. I could, if I wanted to, rewrite that in scientific notation, 2.7 times 10 to the negative 4th yards, but you don't have to in this case. Now the second problem I'll do with you guys is to convert centigrams to milligrams. Now I realize that in 9th grade we have you sliding decimals all over the place, and it works. And if you want to check your answer that way, that's fine. But I want to show you how you can do this with the factor label method. I realize that it might be more work, but again, we're doing this process now so that later on, when we start using units you haven't heard of, it will make sense to you. So we want to go from centigrams to the base unit of grams, and then lastly, to the unit we're trying to find, which is milligrams. I'm going to start by writing down 5.07, the given, centigrams. I'm going to put that over 1. I'm going to multiply by another conversion factor. I want centigrams to disappear, so I'm going to put that on the bottom so it will cancel out. I'm going to put the base unit, which is the next unit I'm trying to go for, at the top. Now I should know that 1 gram is bigger than 1 centigram, so I'm going to put the 1 by the unit that is bigger. And there are 100 centigrams in 1 gram. If I were to stop now, my centigrams would cancel. But I don't want this problem to be in grams when I'm done. I want it to be in milligrams. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to multiply by yet another conversion factor. On the bottom of this conversion factor, I want grams to be there because I want the grams to disappear. And I want milligrams to be the last unit I find. Now, a gram is bigger than a milligram, so I'm going to put the 1 by that unit. And I know that there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. The grams have now canceled. And if I write down my final answer, or I do this in my calculator, I should get 50.7 milligrams. And you want to just double check that your significant digits are okay. 5.07 had 3 significant digits, and so does 50.7 milligrams. So you are good to go with the sig digs. That was the end of the day. Sorry for the loud noise. And now I just want you to remember to stop and do the learning check for multi-step conversions. Good luck.